Okay, second, take discussion board. Okay, so, we will look at, to approve agenda as with the correction.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, under a consent agenda, we have the board of trustees minutes for March 15th and April 14th. We also have to bring into the record the approved planning commission minutes for, okay, better. The approved planning commission minutes for March 8th and March 22nd. And then we have the bills run from March 16th through April 19th for $24,695.47. Board, are there any items that we pulled out for further review? Very well, we will approve these all together then.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, old business. Board, in front of you, we have our new emergency operations plan for the town of Green Mountain Falls, Colorado. This plan has been in the works. We looked at it last board meeting. The idea here is all board members would receive a copy of this when they take office. Then they would check it out, and then they would return it when they leave office. Our Public Works Department, along with our Chiquita Park Fire Protection District and El Paso County, will have a copy of our plan. The clerk department, police department. Are there any questions about this at all? No? Okay, then at this time, I would entertain a motion to accept the emergency operation, approve the emergency operation plan for the town of Green Mountain Falls, Colorado.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor vote. Or is there any more discussion?
Mayor, I'd like to thank you for your work on this. It's a very comprehensive. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Opposed? Trustee Guthrie, are you opposed?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Okay, at this time, I know all of y'all are probably here, the majority that we were here because we are about to change, hand the torch, I guess the torch over, gavel. Okay, over to our new board members. And this is so exciting for our town. If you remember 4 years ago, no one showed up at board meetings here. No one knew what was going on. And look at this. And I'm going to thank you all for being involved in your government. Thank you to all the candidates who ran for office. Thank you, Trustee Gardner. And I did want to say a few things real fast forward before I step. I was going to stand up. But I want to say that I really enjoyed, I'm going to step out from here. Here, can you hold this? Because I want to address the board for a second. So I just want to say that I've really enjoyed working with you guys, and I don't know if you knew all this, but I'm going to shed a little insight on a couple of things here with these guys before we switch office. So, Trustee Stevens, 4 years ago, nobody was stepping up to run for mayor, and I wondered, how come no one's stepping up to run for mayor? So I met Trustee Stevens down at a coffee shop, and I said, sir, what is the hardest thing about being mayor? What keeps you up at night? He simply says,
Not much.
not much. Little did we know that 2 months after that, we would have a Waldo Canyon fire. So we know what keeps me up at night as mayor. Okay, so I thank you. And Trustee Stevens, it's been an honor to work with you as my mayor pro tem. You have been here for so many years, doing such a great job representing us, representing our community down the pass. Good job.
Thank you.
So trustee Butts, for some reason, you ended up being our financial person. Little did you know that your gifts of money and all of that would help us out so much. And I want to thank you for doing that. And, you have been such an asset to this board, and I wish you the best as you continue on. Trustee Cook, little did you know when we ended up having, see, these guys don't know I'm doing this right now, so little did you know that when our Public Works Department resigned, that you would be in charge of Public Works, and that you would be trying to figure out a whole set of keys, that you would be mowing grass, right? You stepped above and beyond the call of duty when you did that, so thank you for your service. Trustee Gardner, oh my goodness, you were appointed, and so you came into this, and then all of a sudden, your phone, you forwarded all the calls from town hall to your cell phone. And so that when we didn't have anyone in the office, the phones at town hall were being answered by trustee Gardner on the job. So good job. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness, trustee Quinn. I don't know if you guys know this about this young man, but he has had 2 babies. Not him. But his bride has had 2 children in these 2 short years. So he came into office, boom. Okay, then boom again. And I want to say, sir, you have missed maybe 2 meetings, 3 meetings in this whole time. So kudos to you. Thank you very much. And trustee Guthrie, for you to step out, only 3 meetings, and to want to step in and be involved in our town government, knowing that there's just 3 meetings. I thank you for stepping up to the call very much. So you guys, these board members have served our town remarkably, and a lot of you don't know all the inside stuff that happens behind the scenes. Renee, thank you. Thank you so much. You have brought joy to town hall. Okay, thank you. Matt Cobb, oh my goodness gracious. Thank you for being here, for helping us, for guiding us. We've accomplished a lot, but under your leadership. And Michael Commodore, thank you for plowing our roads and helping us. I just appreciate that. Mr. Lohman, oh, you're the person. Because of you, our meetings have been broadcasted live. You have been faithful. You haven't gotten paid. You've got a lot of complaints. But thank you for your service to our town. And new board members, thank you. And I look forward to the future of our town.
Okay, before you step anywhere, before you go anywhere, on behalf of a grateful town, you've served many four faithful years, and we have made certificates of commendation. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Made that, and Barb, thank you for serving the town, and I owe you.
Jane, I just want to say, I wish you the best. Okay, I think, Jane, are we going to do the oath of office first?
Let's have a reception, because I think the reception, as much as it's a welcome to us, it's a thank you to you and to the board.
Okay, all right, let's celebrate. Oh, I'm good. I'll adjourn this meeting for a reception at 7:11.
Yes,
So now he's having just an increase.
Yeah, I've got documents about
Yeah. I don't get
I'm doing well. How are you? I have not. Hi, I'm Lori Pasio. It's nice to meet you. How's your saying that?
I thought your mail was my mail, and I thought I'm usually interested in sales.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that's all.
Oh, thanks.
I've been texting you wrong. You have one to say.
Well, it's just I'll be here. Myself, Sean will be here. I know, we're going to see me. So I like my basketball. Well, I can't get anything else wrong. Yeah. There's nothing else there.
You are so bad.
Yes, I am.
One standing up.
Excuse me, I was going to say back to Jim. I didn't realize he was back there.
Really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I said, I said, can you give them the program? I was gonna say, if you never met David before, you never listened to Nice to meet you. Nice meeting you. What's your name? Frank. Yeah, trying to. I thought it was going to be a while. Medication. Told you, bring enough, I'll bring some of my old stuff to Pella. I can picture him chasing one You know, when we were kids, some of them were real rich men, some of them were just public lives.
She didn't get up on a company. Frankly, I was going to show it to David because he got no, you want any punch?
I'd like to see a footprint. So we did Niagara. And then that's my school. Never played golf. Just a natural. I'm sorry. Nice to finally meet you. Not surprised. She's right there.
I'm behind the camera. Okay, so I'll get her to tell you.
There was our table. This one's
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna, and whatever you want.
That's the problem. We can get You're on your own. Yeah, well. Yeah, you can make up. We don't want to slay. 30 guy, maybe. I only had 2 lessons. We had a major. We had a huge dinner. It's big. We had 400. I had 400. And selling in 2 glasses. 3 glasses. I did not renew tickets this year. Why do I want to renew them? Yeah. That's everything that's well.
As soon as we get time. You ready? All right.
Yes, sir.
Hi. I, David Mary, do solemnly swear by the ever living God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado
and the ordinance of the town of Green Falls,
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office of mayor,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office of mayor,
for which I am about to enter.
for which I am about to enter.
Raise your hand. I, Tyler Stevens,
I, Tyler Stevens,
solemnly swear by the ever-living God
do solemnly swear by the ever-living God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office of trustee
and faithfully perform the duties of the office of trustee
for which I am about to enter.
for which I am about to enter.
No, I can't. Show them about the legs.
Just checking.
Raise your right leg. Careful.
That's good. I, David Perlman,
I, David
do
Perlman,
solemnly swear by the ever-living God
do solemnly swear by the ever-living God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
the ordinance of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
for which I'm about to
of
enter.
which I am about to enter. No, I don't know. I'll try. I haven't written anything.
Just put it next.
Put an X.
Just put it next.
You can put it outside.
Raise your right hand. I, Cameron Thorne,
I, Cameron Thorne,
do solemnly swear by the ever-living God
do solemnly swear by the ever-living God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office of trustee
and faithfully perform the duties of the office of trustee
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
For those of you who don't know, this is Doug Price. He is the municipal court judge who comes in and does court
Thanks
once
for
a
serving.
month for the town.
Hang on, hold on. You guys should make the appointments first,
Okay,
and then we should do.
then we should do him.
Yeah, so see the board reports,
I'm gonna go.
see their, you guys can go. You're good now.
Before we make appointments, before we hear public input, we have a guest here tonight, and I would like to have him up on the agenda, just because he's been so patient with our partying. Commander Cliff Northam is here from El Paso County Sheriff's Office. I asked him to come up tonight to just address a little bit how they will be looking after our town as the marshal resigned as of Monday.
Yay!
Good evening, everybody. Boy, I like that. I have to come up personally. I'm the Patrol Division Commander, Commander Cliff Northam. So just wanted to come up and just reassure you folks that Green Mountain Falls is still within El Paso County. And because of that, we have an obligation. So you will be a part of you are a part of our District 8 sector. So we'll have a car assigned to District 8, to this area, that will be driving through and patrolling, just like we patrol any other area of the county. Along with that, we'll be enforcing, of course, state laws, county ordinances, We don't have the authority to enforce city ordinances at this point. I think there will need to be some more discussion there between the mayor and the sheriff to work on those issues. But you will see patrol cars in the area more, not just patrol cars you can see. We also have our special ops units or our crime reduction unit. They'll be up in the area. As a matter of fact, when they're up in the area, you don't see them because they're in unmarked cars. Some of them investigating some of the burglaries that are going on in the area. And you've had a few over the last. Yes, sir.
No horse patrols?
Well, they can come up as well. I think they're on the schedule to come up.
One of the guys lives here anyway, so.
Yeah, he lives up here, so he's gotta come this way. But no, we'll have the mounted unit, traffic unit, crime reduction unit, patrol unit, and other law enforcement officers, some mostly marked, some unmarked in the area, quite often as a part of the county. And driving through Green Mountain Falls itself, since you don't have a dedicated law enforcement official at this time. Okay. Brought some information for you, just to let you know. And I don't know why my crime analyst did it, but 2014 stats on calls for service instead of 2015, I'm not exactly sure. But you know, just hand those out. Seeing there's about 25 of them if you're interested in some information about the office and about what we see up here. And frankly, you live in a great community. We don't get a lot of calls for service up here. In Green Mountain Falls itself for 2014, and I'm not sure why she did 2014, we had 33 case reports, 33 cases. In District 8, all of District 8, we had 407, but that includes Old Colorado City and the area that's not called no man's land anymore, you know, between West Colorado Avenue, yes. Strike that. West Colorado Avenue. So it includes all of those, and that's where we get most of our calls for service. Relatively few calls here in Green Mountain Falls. And also,
the crime capital of the world?
Green Mountain Falls?
Yeah.
No, it's not. You live in a beautiful place. If it wasn't so cold up here and snowy all the time. But response times to calls for service on average 2014, 2015, it's about 15 minutes or so. Some less, some more, but it's about 15 minutes to calls within Green Mountain Falls from downtown area. It's not too bad. Hopefully we'll improve that when we have more cars up here hanging around because you don't have the police department. Also included some information on our website where you can get information on crime reports, our blog, our blotter, police blotter. If you're interested in more information, contact information, that's included here. And also information on getting a neighborhood watch program and who to contact for that. Our neighborhood watch coordinator is Ms. Meredith Broom. Her number is included in here, crime prevention coordinator. And you can contact her if you're interested in the neighborhood watch program. We can help you get that set up. We can come out to your businesses or residences to do security checks, just to review your security and safety and that type of thing. Any other questions you might have for me? Yes, sir.
A couple of years ago, we had a similar situation. The sheriff's department said several deputies, and I don't know what their schedules were, but I thought they did stellar work. I met several of them. I sought them out because I thought that I should. Are we gonna be able to see any of those people back again?
Yes, you'll see a deputy from every shift. So from our day shift, 6:30 to 4:30, our swing shift, 3 p.m. to 1 a.m., our midnight shift, 9:30 to 7:30. There will be someone working this area. Any other questions? Thank you for cheering me on. Thank you for the cake and do you have any other questions? I'll hang around for a little bit.
Real quick, I want, as far as
where the wildlife protection falls, does that fall under your domain of the sheriff? I kind of think it
If
does.
it's within your city limits, it's the city ordinances. The county has separate ordinances on wildlife as well. If we see someone, abusing an animal or that type of thing, then we can take action on that. I am not certain that I guess you're referring to dangerous dogs. That type of thing.
Well, no, more in particular, just wildlife. That, they go out here a little bit less than we did before, but, yeah. I'd like to see this town become a little bit more aware of that, and honestly, I think I've looked up, animal abuse laws, which include neglect for animals to be applied, and, it falls under the jurisdiction, I think, of the county sheriff. So, is that something we could look into?
If it's within our ordinances and within state law, we will enforce it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving right along, we will move to the public hearing, 10770 Grandview Avenue, vacation rental, Lisa Huizinga. And we close and go to public hearing this time.
Recess.
We will recess for public hearing at 7:40. Ms. Huizinga, if you would like to just describe briefly your property, we have your special use permit application in front of us, as well as the letters from the neighbor. It's all the neighbors. Do you have any thing to add to that?
It's a little 2-bedroom cabin across the street from me, so keep it outside. And real sensitive to my neighbors. If they would have any concerns, I have a good relationship with them and I'm happy to address their concerns.
I did see the only concern was parking, and you addressed that by saying there is an off-street as well as across the street at your home. Okay. Or do you have any questions? Do you have any? And it is a public hearing, so do you have any questions from those in attendance? Seeing none, we will close this public hearing at 7:41. We're now in regular session. Clerk, what were your findings?
There were 10 letters sent out, 6 were returned in favor, 2 were not returned, and 2 were undeliverable.
Or do you have any questions or comments? I'm waiting for that motion.
I would like to move to approve the special use permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Or it is passed unanimously, thank you. You're a little out of order of the regular agenda. I would like to open it up to public input at this time. Please state your name, your address for the record, and do the rest for 3 minutes.
My name's Anthony Now, 9880 Mesa Road, Cascade, Colorado. And as most of you know by now, our beloved mascot, Roy, was killed by 2 dogs running loose in a pack in the park. He was sitting in the sun, cleaning his feathers when this happened on the west side of the lake. The cook, Nick at the Blue Moose, and another woman tried to save Roy and held the dogs for over 2 hours, excuse me, until they were able to reach the owner, since they couldn't contact or reach the marshal's office at the time. People are letting their dogs run wild in the park. Last fall, I buried another goose that had been attacked and killed. A week before Roy was killed, 2 people brought their large dogs to the park on leashes and then let them run free with the leashes dangling. They jumped in the lake and started to attack the geese. I called out to them and said there was a leash law, and they said laughingly, yes, we have them on their leashes, even though the dogs were in the middle of the lake by then. And besides, these are duck dogs, they said. 2 dogs before that were thrown over the gazebo into the water to learn to swim. One got stuck under the bridge and almost drowned. Their cries were heard all over Green Mountain Falls. The protector of the lake, our beloved Roy, is not there with his clarion call now to warn the others when a dog comes through. We'll soon have many baby geese and ducks. The adult geese mold during this time and cannot fly for several months. So we really need to be careful with keeping our animals on leashes. And when they are not, we need to do something about this. Because, you know, it's never the animal's fault, and we don't want anything to ever happen to the dogs or any of our animals, you know, but the owners need to be held responsible for this. And as far as Roy is, he's in a wonderful heavenly lake, probably being fed now by Oscar Lindholm. That's fine.
I'm Dr. Trajan Bond, 6850 Howard Street, and I've spoken to many of you who were running for office in this election. As far as I'm concerned, your most important responsibility, if not your municipal duty, is to dissolve the town into El Paso County. You don't need the oppression of the town. I'm so glad that we don't have a local police. We don't need a local police. We have, what we had a moment ago, El Paso County sheriffs. That's what we need. I am tired of being oppressed and being blocked from getting competent, professional attendance to my concerns for my personal safety and protection by having your local police, so to speak, have made it impossible for me to get competent protection. We don't need a police. We don't need anything. You can have your little parade with a committee. You can have your trails with the local participation of people who are wishing to give help. And Mr. Stevens, we are so glad that you are involved in the wider polity. We need you there, not here. Dissolve the town of Green Mountain Falls now.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
That Patron, 10810 Myrtle Street. At the previous planning commission meeting, I made a comment about the success of the apartment complex in Woodland Park, and what seems to be the desire of those developers to do a similar project a little bit larger. My concern, and I think the concern of the Board of Trustees should be that once they cover 12 to 15 acres of property with rooftops and pavement, that's 15 acres more ground that doesn't absorb any water at all, and it goes straight to Fountain Creek. So I would suggest that you pick a member of your group to represent the town and hopefully the, all of Lower you pass down to Manitou. In an effort to make sure that they mitigate their runoff water and take care of it before it hits Green Mountain Falls, which seems to be the bottleneck under the bridge on UPass Avenue right out here. Hopefully, they'll take that to heart. I don't know that will happen, but there needs to be a concern expressed specifically for the lower UPass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jacob. I've submitted to the town board a plan to landscape the corner of Lake Avenue and UPass Avenue. I hope you will review my plan and get back to me. I have over 40 years of outdoor work experience, starting with pruning the evergreens in my parents' backyard in Long Island, New York. I have done gardening, farming, landscaping in Vermont, Wisconsin, California, Germany. In Germany, I was a farm apprentice on a biodynamic farm, a complete, diversified, sustainable farm. I am more than qualified, and I am donating all my labor because, in the words of Roger Tolsman, it is unsightly. That's one of his favorite words. And you probably know the man. He doesn't live here now, but he still has a studio here. And right now, it is the corner in Green Mountain Falls, and it is basically a garbage heap. It needs help. So I am willing, able, and more than confident that I can complete it, and I'm only asking for a little help from the town. So you have all my information on my plan. Please get back to me.
All right, thank you.
Dick Bratton, 1190 Hondo Avenue. I welcome the new members to the board. Thank you. You're facing some big challenges. One in front of you, which I think should be your number one priority, is how to provide your residents with safety and security. Although the sheriff's department has already decided to help the town, you heard him admit that he cannot enforce any local ordinances. The fact that you've got dogs running loose, killing one of our favorite citizens. If you're down in the park and you see dogs loose, what are you gonna call? You need to figure that one out right away. Not just dogs, but we have a whole book of ordinances that need to be enforced right away. So I would implore you to hire a new marshal as soon as possible. Those of you who ran in this election all stated to the press that you feel we need a marshal's department. I'm gonna hold you to that and say, get on with it and hire a new marshal as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Dick. Is there any further public comment? Larry?
My name is Larry. I pastor Joyland Church at 10605 Green Mountain Falls. I wasn't going to say this, I was just going to talk privately, but I was struck by and pleasantly surprised that you took your oath in the name of the ever-living God. And so I'm going to take a minute and a half to just let you know that people are praying for you, because we believe that God does care about civil government and the service that's rendered there. And I believe that there's a special release of wisdom and blessing, and I encourage you guys to lean on it. Because no doubt, Lori mentioned that the Waldo Canyon fires were something you could never anticipate. And you need more than just a good policy or a good idea for that. You need wisdom that comes down through the ages. And, in the Old Testament, it talked about the word setting kings in place. And so, anyway, I just bless you guys, and I bless you with the encouragement that, especially those of you that are new to this, you're gonna find wisdom coming your way from sources you never thought about. And so just the folks at Joyland are gonna be praying for you guys. We're gonna be ready to serve, but that's just us in human terms. I really do encourage you in that oath you took before the ever-living God to know that He loves you, to know that He cares about the job that you're doing, and He's gonna be here with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, any further public comment? Seeing none, we need to move on to our next agenda item. It looks lengthy, but I think we can get through this fairly quickly. Item B is the selection of mayor pro tem. And I would like to nominate Cameron Thorne as mayor pro tem. And that was, are there any further discussion? All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
And no from Mr. Cook, thank you. We need to appoint and swear an oath of interim town clerk Renee Price. Renee, if you would please. Raise your right hand, please. I, Renee Price, do solemnly swear by the ever-living God that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Colorado and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls, and faithfully perform the duties of the office of interim town clerk upon which I am about to enter. Interim town clerk upon which I am about to enter. Thank you. Congratulations. And is very gracious about serving us even as we decide what the future of the town holds as far as a full-time town clerk. And I must say, she's just been gracious and happy to learn things. I'm sure Mayor Rudy can say the same thing. It's been a real pleasure to work with. All right. Appointment of town attorney. I would like to appoint Crog and Associates as town attorney for the town of Green Mountain Falls.
Second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Fix the compensation of town attorney. There's always some discussion about this. We would fix it in accordance with what has been budgeted by the previous board, and it is the public budget. Is there any discussion?
Motion.
I will make that a motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I like the concept of it. The question I have is it's a kind of a two-part thing. We are appointing them as town attorney, but they also, as a independent contractor, it's an agreement. So I wouldn't want to make a one-sided thing. I think it's more of a negotiation at that point between the town and Crog and Associates.
And I do agree with that. I'm just moving along according to the ordinances that we have. Have anything to?
So it's my understanding that, obviously our firm bills the town hourly. Our rates haven't changed, so none of that's changing. And essentially, the law requires that you say that, hey, we're the new board, but the old board did the budget. So you're either just reaffirming, saying, yeah, we're going to follow the budget they did, or we're gonna look at that line item and maybe adjust it and tailor it. And so it sounds like at this point, the mayor's made a motion to continue with the current budget. Again, it's something that I think you guys are looking forward to revisiting more regularly, and I think that's prudent for you, but at this point, I don't know that we have necessarily a negotiation to change that. The board wants to discuss changing that. I'm not the one that gets to do that, it's actually my boss, but I can certainly pass it on to him.
Is your firm aware of what's been appropriated by the board in terms of an upper limit? And is there a warning system where if we get close to that in terms of our build, we'll know before we hit that?
I'm sure we can look at that. I don't know that we necessarily go off the budget. We're here when you need us, and if you don't need us, sometimes it's great news. Sometimes boards are quiet for hopes of saving money, but don't ask the questions and kind of end up having to backtrack. So we don't necessarily have a copy of your budget, but I'm certainly happy to get one and take a look at it with what you'd like.
It's fine with me. All right, there has been a motion, there has been a second. Any further discussion? We already approved the appointment of Crowd Associates. The motion that I made is that we would fix the compensation of the town attorney in accordance to the budget that has been set.
Just further clarification, I think that it will be important to judge where we are along that line so we don't hit a hard stop.
Yes, I
Also
think that's
without legal representation.
I think that's true. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, thank you. I didn't say no. Item G is not an action item, but I would like to introduce that on May 3rd, which is a regularly scheduled meeting, we have a workshop. I'd like to discuss the material assets and the year-to-date budget. Those are prepared by the department heads. If you have any questions about material asset inventory, call me, but it really is just the inventory of your depreciable items, and should be pretty straightforward. I know that Renee has been working with you, Michael, on the budget, and this is just gonna give us a chance to discuss where we're at, where we wanna be. Along with that, I would really like to see us discuss trustee liaison positions. Instead of making an assignment, I'd like everybody to have a chance to discuss what they're interested, what they see as valuable, what they wanna learn, along with goals and priorities that you see for yourself and for the town in the upcoming year. So if you would schedule that for May 3rd, a workshop, so that we can have a chance to discuss publicly all those items.
What time do you want to have the workshop?
Same time, 7 o'clock. Oh, I did forget item F, good thing you're here. I'm sorry, Judge. We need to appoint. Well, that hasn't been the first time. We need to make an appointment of our municipal judge. This is Douglas Price, who has taken over for Judge Bruce. And Renee, if you will.
Make the appointment.
Make
Board
it.
first.
All right. In making the appointment of Judge Doug Bruce.
Doug
or
Price.
Doug Price, pardon me, I gotta have myself. Doug Price, our judge.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this a contract that needs to be written, or is it, how does it work?
So
in
yeah,
the past?
there's kind of three parts to this particular office. First you have the appointment, then you have the oath, and then obviously this is an independent contractor situation, which we tell all of our clients, please get that in writing, make sure everyone understands, and there's specific statutory language that's required. We've used that form before for pool repairs and something else we did. But it's pretty standard form. So you guys essentially are completing 2 of those, and then I would assume that we just send a copy of that to him. That would kind of complete the whole appointment and authorization and establishment of the relationship between the town and the independent contractor.
So will you draft that
I
for
can,
us?
I can certainly do.
Thank you.
Would you like me to send it along too?
Yes, please. Judge, if you have no objection to that procedure, we would like to proceed with your oath of office. Are we
I don't
ready
know
for
that we had
that?
a vote yet.
Second.
That was discussion.
Oh,
We got a motion
goodness.
second and we're waiting
And
for a
we had
vote.
discussion?
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Who was the second?
I was.
All right, so motion by Mayor, second by.
Renee's busy.
She's right.
I'm taking notes.
What you got going on?
Raise your right hand. I, Doug Price,
I, Dr. Price,
do solemnly swear by the ever-living God
do solemnly swear by the ever-living God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of municipal court judge
of municipal court judge,
upon which I am about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter. Thank you.
All right. On to item H. We put on here to reaffirm the hiring policy, the facilities access policy, and the vehicle take-home policy. Now, these are policies that were put in place in 2014, and we just need to review that they are still in place. And if the board has any questions about any of these, now's your time. Questions, answers, discussion, everybody knows they're in place? All right, let's move on to item I. Blue Moose Liquor License Renewal, Carla Pinner. We do need to serve as the liquor licensing board at this time. And we'll open a public hearing. We will recess this meeting at 8:06 and open the liquor license, that's the liquor license renewal board. Carla?
Right, Carla Penner, Blue Moose Tavern, 10530 Pass Avenue. I'm just here requesting the approval for the renewal of our liquor license. We have completed our 3rd year, and this is the start of our 4th year. We've had wonderful 3 years here. The locals have been fantastic. I feel like we have a very nice, clean, family-friendly place for everybody to come in and feel comfortable. And things are going great business-wise, so any questions?
Board, do you have any questions? As this is a public hearing, does the audience have any questions for Ms. Pinner? Seeing none, we will close as the liquor licensing authority at 8:07. And board? Oh, Renee, have there been any findings?
No, there have not. I received an email from Chief Bradley late yesterday afternoon stating that this is to serve as a recommendation from him regarding the liquor license renewal for Blue Moose Saloon, that there have been no issues in 2015, and he recommends that Carla Penner, the owner of Blue Moose Saloon, be granted her liquor license renewal for 2016.
Thank you. Board, any discussion?
Move to approve.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. J, UPass Elementary School silent auction. Do we have a representative here from UPass Elementary?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Cole. I'm a parent at UPass Elementary School, and I also live in Green Mountain Falls. I help organize the silent auction fundraiser, which is the PTO's main yearly fundraiser. And each year the town has been generous on providing full passes, and I'm just requesting a donation of full passes again this year for the auction.
How many do you think you'd like to have?
Usually the town gives 3, so 3 would be one.
Is that like a 10 punch card or?
I believe so. I sent an email that stated that what the past donation was from last year. I don't have that with me.
There's punch cards. Punch cards.
Yeah.
So I move to approve 3 punch cards for the UPass Elementary silent auction.
Second.
For any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. You get your 3, Renee, if you would take care of that, please. Thank you. Thank you. Item K, the audit contract. So that's coming up, Renee.
It is. So before you is the contract that they have sent that has to be approved and signed by the board. They're not going to budge anymore as far as costs. They've stated $10,000, providing everything is in the best order it can be at this point. So you guys just have to determine if you want them to be the auditors in this year. And then I have to let them know. Right now it's scheduled for May 23rd.
Board, I would advise that we probably need to move on this sooner rather than later for the simple fact that auditors get filled up quite quickly. This has been discussed several times. I have asked Renee that she keeps us informed every step of the way. If we look like we've hit a snag in the audit, and then we can further discuss where that's going to lead.
There was discussion previously about presenting our financials to the auditor for review prior. Have they taken a look at them and they feel?
They have taken a look at them. The last request that he sent me was trying to figure out how the cash accounts work with the general ledger and the assist program. And so he and I have talked about that, and at that moment, that was his only concern of trying to understand how that happened.
The only gap that I'm seeing is in the letter that they stipulate that as long as they are comfortable with the materials that we provide, but I don't have in writing from them that they are comfortable.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're gonna provide that to you.
Yeah, so the board's aware, on page 3, it says management responsibilities. That's the things that the CPAs are expecting that the board provide. So kind of already understaffed town clerk, interim town clerk is certainly gonna have more to do here. So they said that Renee isn't capable of doing that. Just be aware that they're expecting you to provide that. So that's definitely.
That's actually picking on page 4 at the bottom, the speed estimate assumes the books and records are in good condition. And
It also says maximum of 10,000, and that should be in italics. They're saying it's gonna cost you at least $10,000.
So will not exceed $10,000 as long as the books are in good order and they get the assertion. Yeah. I do think it is still, even with that said, I still think it's a good idea to move forward with this. They've got a year of history, we have a daily plays, and to change course at this time, I think would put us in trouble. So I move to approve this.
Second?
Further discussion?
One thing that jumped out at me, and I apologize, I did not get my question asked in time for the auditor to answer. On page 1, it says the general fund, statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, budget, and actual will not be audited. I wasn't quite sure what that statement meant, since the general fund is the lion's share of all of our money. I didn't get an answer because I didn't ask the question in time.
So that, they will do some, and they won't do, they'll do one, so it's budgetary versus GAAP. So if we show them our budget, and we say that there's $36,000 in road base. Well, they're not gonna look at that and say, you don't need $36,000, you should need $70,000, you need $12,000, whatever. What they will look is the gap. So at the end of the year, you said 36,000, you only spent 14, or you spent 72. They're gonna look at the delta there and look for inconsistencies. Did you log something incorrectly, or is this a pattern? Things like that. So that's the budgetary versus GAAP.
And they will look at that?
They will look at GAAP, but not budgetary. They don't care what we say we
Right.
want to spend.
But if we expended over appropriations, that would
They'll look for flags.
flat, okay.
All right. Matt, did you have anything further to add to that? Yeah, okay with this from a,
Yeah, this is pretty standard, I'm gonna guess, since it's almost identical to the contract they sent us last year. But again, be aware that if we don't fulfill our management responsibilities, that, that cost is gonna rise. So, sometimes they have people they work with, as they did last time, sometimes it's better if we find them. Just be aware there might be some more work for the board to do as that May 23rd date approaches.
Then I'll call you.
no problem. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Pool opening. The opening on here is for costs, opening date, salary, and we need to advertise for lifeguards. Renee, has that been done?
No, I've had 2 inquiries into people who have either been a lifeguard last year or interested in doing it this year.
Okay.
I've given them an application to fill out and a request for them to send me any certifications that they have.
Okay, let's make sure we also have that advertised in the post office. That's gonna be our closest source. And the way the girls usually work is they all tell each other too. I would like to see our pay for the lifeguards stay at $8.30 an hour, and then $9 for the head lifeguard. And if they are returning, we will look at a 25-cent an hour boost for anyone who's returning.
Mayor, I have one, not about the pay, I don't think that's a good idea. One is a question, if you want to look it up to the audience. Last year we did a hybrid of hours. Had some early, had some late, had some weekends. We were looking for what worked, and obviously the lifeguards from last year would probably be their best source of information. I haven't asked them. But is there any feedback from this large audience that what worked, what was good, or what was bad about last year's hours?
It's my understanding you lost money last year. I understand that the pool loses money every year, and it's not a money-making proposition. I don't think it was ever meant to be. I don't think there's a pool in the United States that makes money. But I think that last year, as I understand, the pool lost more money than any time in history.
Do you think that was because of the hours?
I think that had something to do with the hours opening at the early date that it did. Historically, the reason that the pool didn't open until Father's Day was because it was cold every day until Father's Day. You could open it earlier, but I would not recommend more than a week. before Father's Day. It gets
So
cold.
that's about opening. My question was, I had some early hours and some late hours.
Well, I think my concern is that if you open the pool on Memorial Day, you lose a lot of usership, you lose a lot of heat and a lot of electricity running the pool when people don't show up. And so historically, when the pool was open around Father's Day, give or take, and closed just prior to Labor Day, the pool in many cases broke even. I think that's better than most swimming pool operations in the state. And so for that reason, I would tend to move back to that scenario. It's fine that you're not going to make money, but you shouldn't hemorrhage it.
So as far as
Excuse me.
talk to,
I know what you were talking about, but it wasn't consistent, it seemed like.
no, it was
And
a
for it
trial,
to be,
trying to find out what works best.
exactly. And I noticed a lot of times it would open like at 6 at night for the people coming home from work or whatever. I never saw anybody in there, and I saw the girls in there, but I don't think it paid to have it all these different hours of opening, closing, and then opening it again, this, the same day. And it just didn't seem consistent, or I didn't see that there were people in it late at night or after work.
Okay.
And I also thought it stayed open long, and you have to close it when kids go back to school. So them having it open after kids were already in school and all the tourists are gone too. So I just think the old way was the best way. Have it, from this time to this time and not opening and then closing and opening and closing.
Okay. So it was an experiment last year, and it's up to the board now to we can find out what the hours were from the lifeguards and do whatever. I appreciate last year everybody indulging in my experiment because it was to try to find out what the citizens wanted. Do they want early laps swimming? Do they want late thing? So.
They're addressing your question about the hours of operation, speaking strictly in a business sense. I'm sure the Blue Moose would agree. You've got to be consistent. You've got to open and be closed at the same time all the time. Otherwise, nobody can plan on it. Yeah. And you will shoot yourself in the foot 100% of the time if you stray from that. It'll kill business.
And it is nice to have an early morning or a late evening adult swim only time, as long as it's like set at the same time so people can plan their schedules around it.
Okay. Michael, I wanted to ask you, you said that the pool looked like it's in pretty good shape. Do you anticipate any costs? I know the boiler's old. The boiler's had some issues, backwashing the filter, I know can sometimes be a bit of a challenge.
We don't seem to, aren't gonna have the same type of problems we had last year, with all the issues with the rusting. I only saw 2 spots on the whole thing, which was awesome. Preventive maintenance on the boiler, from what the gentleman said when he was out last, it is old, but he says as long as we do, your preventive maintenance and you take care of it, it should last you another 5 years or so. But, the other things, I don't anticipate just a normal startup cost that we have for chemicals and that kind of thing. And I like the idea of opening a little bit later. I think because the temperatures are so cold, we just don't have a lot of, folks that want to swim at that time. And that would give us the time to make sure things are, up to par and, and top notch before we start to open. So I would agree with that. And I think we could probably work around the schedule, as far as a daily type thing as well.
Okay, filters, everything, you feel good with all that?
Yes, I do.
We're gonna repaint or just take care of a couple of rust
We'll
spots
just
that are in
take
there?
care of a couple spots. The paint looks in really good condition. I was really, really happy with that. So that cover really did help.
Good, good. And the pool house?
That's still in good condition. We've cleaned it. We've done a lot of maintenance on it with Sean and I, get it all ready to go. And so I think, we're much ahead of the schedule than we were last year. I think we've learned from experiences that we've had. I think it'll be a lot better. We've drained it properly. We had it professionally drained or winterized in the bathhouse itself, so we should not have those problems. Yeah, this year.
Michael, how much lead time do you need?
I would like a month. I'd like a month, just to make sure everything is, running really well. Because I'd rather not have to use the fire department's water truck again to fill it at last minute. So,
I think that would be a good
Yeah.
idea.
What is process for hiring new lifeguards? Do I just collect the applications and then put them in a board packet for you all to look at, or how does that work?
Well, currently, that's a question that we have, we reaffirmed the hiring process, and the hiring process put in 2014 said that all hiring came before the board, unless we so appoint someone to take care of hiring. Board, what is your pleasure with that, with the lifeguards?
Let's collect applications and if there's, we need to form a subcommittee, we can do that, or, if you don't want to ask for.
That sounds fine with me. I'd also be interested in hearing from, if we have someone returning, I'd like to hear what they think about the day-to-day operation. I think that's fair. They are young, but they are the experts in this situation.
Costs?
That is something we need to talk about, is the rates. I would like to see the rates be consistent for everyone in town and not in town. And that was a bit of a dust up last year for me. Part of the reason to keep the price the same for everyone. Part of it is in consideration of our lifeguards, because we put a lot of onus on them to trust people who say they live here when perhaps they know they do not. And I think let's make it consistent, let's make it friendly. We all know that the pool is not a moneymaker. We're not trying to finance our retirements off it. It's a benefit for everybody in UPass. That's how I feel. I don't know how everyone else feels.
When do rates need to be finalized in order to start selling passes?
Renee, do you have a feeling for that? When did we do that last year?
Good question. I don't know if Jeff did that to you.
When do we set the rates?
In anticipation of pre-sale.
A month or so.
Pre-sale
It
time.
was like open bands.
Yeah, I think
All right.
it was last minute, it was too late.
It was too late, okay, for what we're doing.
I think they're just putting the agenda every meeting.
I think that's fine.
Think about it.
I think because we have started this discussion, it will give everybody time to think about what they feel their priorities are. We want to talk about opening dates, hours. Hopefully, we can get a returning lifeguard to give her opinion as well. We want to talk about not their pay, because we talked about that. Anything else for that agenda?
The lifeguard was the go-to girl last year, should they come back?
Tori.
What was her name?
Tori. I don't know if we haven't heard, I haven't heard anything.
That's okay, we have other ones coming back.
Do we have to wait that long to set an opening and closing date? I'm thinking that as far as the applications for kids, it would be good if we had that information.
That's a very good idea.
I don't know if we can approve that tonight as far as that goes.
I'm okay with that, because I can order what we're looking at.
Because then kids will know exactly what their requirements are.
I think that's a very good idea, especially on college age.
Exactly. So I'm looking, I think Father's Day is June 12th. If I would guess. 19th this year? I would guess.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see us open on June 11th, Saturday. It's the week before Father's Day, but it's still the middle of June.
I think that would be a good date myself. That's what I was asking about the 12th. I didn't have
Okay.
Father's Day inclusion calendar.
And closure, let's see which on there is.
So stick with Labor Day?
Do you want to stay open till Labor Day?
Yeah, that's up to you guys.
Most of the students go back to school by the third, about the 15th.
A lot of them are back in school by the 15th.
So if you made the 20th,
If we could stay open till the 20th, we should be able to manage coverage. I'd say the 21st, because that's a Sunday. So what does everyone else think? June
When the kids
11th?
go back to school, June, what date?
Looking like they're going back around August 15th. That will vary for colleges, of course. But if we're looking at high school, and also we have to consider that a lot of the revenue comes from kids out of school and our summer visitors. And I've noticed in the last several years, our summer visitors drop off drastically in the middle of August.
It's still really warm, I'm just thinking.
Still decently warm.
We could extend the date later if attendance is high.
If attendance is high, and we could even look at something like we could open again on the weekends, if it's not. We
Just
could
open for the weekend.
open up through weekends, through Labor Day weekend, if it looks like we're really burning down the doors to get in the pool. But a solid, start of June 11th, a soft close of August 21st. Everybody okay with that?
Second.
Easy. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes.
That's a quick question. Is there ever any consideration, or is it even possible that the pool be rented for like an event by a single group?
We have done that in the past,
Okay, would those rates be available after you guys get things settled up?
and I think that's a good thing to discuss.
Okay, great.
I know in the past they wanted to consider, things like utility rates, card rates, and so forth, but that has happened, so that's not
We might be
unprecedented.
interested in, group renting from time to time, if that was available, I didn't know if it was.
Okay, sure, thank you. So for the next, so that's one motion. And we want to discuss some of this on our next agenda.
So that'd be the May 3rd meeting to set rates.
We had set rates on May 3rd, we can have a small business meeting either before or after the workshop.
You suggested May, but there wasn't any motion to suggest.
I will make a motion that the base rate of pay is $8.30 an hour unless it's a head guard, which is 9. If they are a returning guard, I would give them a 25-cent an hour incentive.
I will second that.
Any further discussion?
Assuming that's what we want.
That's where we get started.
What did Colorado minimum wage go to on January 1st?
It went up to 8.31, so it would need to be 8.31. And I can finance that for you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. We have update to Unicode as item M. That's you.
I have found out that the Unicode, according to them, it has not been updated since 2012. So we are still in the process of determining how many ordinances. I don't know where to locate 2012 and 13, so I need guidance on that. And I kind of looked at 2014, 15.
Yeah, I've only been here since January 14, but since January 14, so 10?
Yeah, about 10.
At least 10. So you figure that on the short side, that's 2 pages per ordinance, on the really short side. Or your procurement policy, which is
14.
14 pages, and they're charging
$20 a page. But what I've done is I've made a phone call to see if we can just get a flat rate, which is cheaper than doing the $20 a page, since it's been 4 years since it's been updated. And they're usually pretty good about working with you on things like that. You know, I know that if you want to try new things or new things on their website, they will let you have an interim time, everything up to a year. So I'm gonna try to negotiate that with them to see, if they want our business, we'll see what we're doing.
All right, that would be terrific. Board, any further questions? All right, let's move on to item 7, reports. Thank you, Renee. We don't have reports listed by trustee liaisons on here because we are in a little between that until May 3rd. but I did have an announcement. Colorado Municipal League has their spring outreach meeting in Colorado Springs on May 26th from 9 to 11. It's free for all of the board members. I would strongly encourage everyone to attend. If you've never attended anything by Colorado Municipal League, incredibly informative. Also, good place to network. You'll be surprised how entertained you are. I would strongly encourage everybody to give up 2 hours out of their day and go do that. I like this the flyer. So go online, sign up for that. Let me know if you have. I already have. I'd like to see everybody do that. So reports. Starting when
The clerk's position has been posted online for a while, and it's been submitted to the courier. I sent y'all an email regarding that. I would like to, not tonight, but at a future, bring up changing back to the courier from the Gazette, because the reasons we moved over to the Gazette are no longer in place now that we're at the single reading. But we'll bring that up at a later.
I would like to see that at our next business meeting with the paper of record.
Nothing further.
Thank you.
PPCG and RTA met last week, and also Regional Building met last week. There's been identification of the gap with the Americans with Disabilities Act for the regional building element, and the Independent Center has initiated a conversation to try to figure out how we make sure that sites are accessible. It might be an ongoing conversation that will ultimately require input from the
Is that gonna affect us with any of our buildings or anything we need to be thinking about?
It could, but the overall conversation is when regional building comes out and does inspections, it is the understanding that with that certificate of occupancy, that they're compliant with accessibility within ADA, but that's not necessarily the case because there's a 5-foot limit beyond the exterior of the building, so if there's a incompatible surface, and there's sloping on site, there's a gap in that inspection. So that's really the nature of the conversation.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Coe, a report?
In conjunction with the emergency operations plan, which Mayor Worthy has been working, she had announced the MCS training for elected officials. I believe that's April 29th, is that right? So I have registered for that. Kind of tentatively before, and so I just wanted to remind the rest of the board that that is available and coming up and requires registration to make sure we can make the most of the work that was done.
I've registered for that as well. Thank you. Trustee Quinn?
No report.
All right. Trustee Crone?
No, no report.
Renee, do you have a report for us?
Well, first is a couple of questions. So because the police department is in an interim standpoint right now, I've tried to think of the things that people we need to call, the companies, insurance companies and things that the township will pay for now that, they're no longer here. So I've come up with, CEBT for medical, and I've already spoken to Pinnacle, and SURSA, is there anything else?
Does that include the dental too? We moved dental seat to
Right.
CCAT. Okay.
Is there anything I'm not thinking about? I know Comcast too.
And Comcast is with the cell phone provider too?
I don't know.
Okay.
The cell phone, if I remember the budget line item, it was a prepaid year in advance or whatever thing. So I don't think it's an ongoing bill, if I remember right.
Okay, we should look into that.
I think Comcast was probably maybe internet
Sure.
and the office phone maybe for voicemail.
All right, board, anything else?
One question is are the vehicles. Obviously, we still own them, so we still have to insure them. But I don't know to what level we need to insure them.
Yeah, if they're sitting outside, I would talk to Sarah and let them know where they're sitting, if they're parked, that you guys get hailed, that you get, that they're exposed, they're not secured, so that you don't pull them completely off the policy.
Right, of course.
So maybe perhaps options
Liability
to
only.
look at. Yeah.
Comprehensive only.
Maybe have options for the board to look at to see the cost savings. It might be very minimal, to drop it from, full coverage to just liability only. Comprehensible. Yeah.
All right, board, anything else?
Yeah, I just gotta find it. All right, and having talked to Pinnacle, the premium is based on salaries. So because there was an audit done that I submitted documentation to them. And the salaries between January 1st, 2015 and January 1st, 2016 were underestimated. So in giving them the actual numbers, it's costing the town an additional $2,886 on this next payment. But then once that is done, the premium drops down significantly from what we're paying right now. It's $19.50 is what we've been paying, and it drops down to $755.
And that's because we had underestimated
The
salaries.
That was for the year that's passed.
Right, and that's what the audit is.
We will need to look at where to take that money from. And I haven't seen the budget, so I don't even have an idea. So when we have a discussion at our workshop, let's look at what line items we can move and have a discussion regarding that. Matt, do you have a report?
I don't have a report, but I do want to just make a clarification that the mayor scheduled a workshop at 7 p.m. So obviously then we need to move the regular board meeting that's scheduled for that Tuesday a little bit later.
We could have a very brief board meeting at 7, but I would rather have a workshop prior and have an abbreviated board meeting after, because I think we will have some valuable discussion during the workshop.
Can we just recess the board meeting, open it, recess it, and then close it, come back in?
So it just says that it's scheduled, the town code requires, the board of trustees shall hold a regular meeting on the first and third Tuesday at 7 p.m. provided, however, that when the day fixed for any regular meeting for the board of trustees falls upon a day designated by law as a holiday, that you move it. So mostly I want to see if the board would like to direct staff to post that the meeting's not going to start at 7 if you show up at the meeting at 7 if you're here for a workshop, but that the meeting will start as soon thereafter.
That would be perfect.
That's the language we typically use when we're trying to schedule things, but you're not quite sure when it's going to be, so.
That works for me, board.
I don't prefer to see it reversed. Conduct a short business meeting, take care of the bills, consent agenda, and hold the workshop as soon as maybe after the board meeting.
And then any votes be held on the 17th?
Or you have, you don't recess or gavel the meeting closed, and have a public workshop. Basically recess.
That's
Yeah.
fine with me, if that's.
The pool costs are a motion item on the May 13th. Pool
Right.
rates.
So.
So just, so your staff has clear direction from the majority of the board, does anyone want to make a motion to, so we're all on the same page?
I move to host the meeting as normal at 7 o'clock with the meeting will contain a public workshop.
I second that.
All those in, any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so our weather report, since our last board meeting, which was a month ago, we received a total of 31 inches of snow, bringing our year-to-date total to 100 inches so far. Most of the snow, of course, came in the last couple days, as you all know. In my maintenance report, since our last board meeting, we have completed the following repairs and maintenance. We began our endless pursuit to straighten signs around town, which is still our endless pursuit. Then our attention turned to trimming trees around the parks and in the park areas. From there, we did pothole repairs to some of our paved streets. Next, we tackled the repairs to the lights on the fountain so that we have lights in the fountain this year, which is now ready to go out onto the lake once the weather warms up a bit. Our next duty was to aerate all the parks and to apply fertilizer, which was done before the snow, which was awesome, so that the fertilizer is soaking in. And then finally, as I've already said before, we pulled the cover off the pool in preparation for the opening. And like I said before, it looks really, really good. As far as my news report, I just want to remind everybody that the Great American Cleanup for the Pikes Peak Partners is this Saturday, the 23rd. We're meeting here at Town Hall. If it's still not too late, you can still go sign up at the website. I don't have the website with me. I think it's www.greatamericancleanup.pikespeakpartners.com.
It's gacpp.com.
Yeah, there you go, that one. Thank you. As far as meetings attended, I attended 2 meetings since our last board meeting, which were, one was in Denver. At the SURSA meeting, it was basically an orientation, which discussed the ins and outs of SURSA, what I needed to do, what's, the types of things that we need to do and the responsibilities that we have. And I have that book with me if anyone needs any more information on that. My next meeting was last week with FEMA and Keith Curtis with El Paso County Floodplain, in which our discussion a lot was more of an informative for me about flood mitigation grants, mapping updates, and flood insurance studies that we have. And if you need any information, I have that as well with me here. And that's my report.
Thank you. I would really be interested to see the SURSA book and information about, especially the mapping updates and flood insurance to have here at Town Hall so people can come and look. Lots of people don't realize that you don't have to be in a flat zone to maybe have flood
It's very
issues.
interesting. You can see the flooding areas here, the new mapping updates and everything they've had for not just here, but everywhere. But, it shows pretty cool about Green Mountain Falls, what the flooding, hazards are that you have coming here.
I think that'd be valuable.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
A great cleanup day. Do you have an idea what tasks will be performed?
Yes, the main task when they asked me many months ago, they wanted me to come up with what would be a good idea as far as cleanup. And preliminary thoughts that I had was to walk through town from end to end and just pick up trash on the sides of the roads and also through the parks. That's this year. And then if we are to participate next year, we can discuss with the board's help as well as other ideas as far as cleanup. But that's what it'll be.
That's along the public right of ways?
Yes.
What about the streams?
No.
Okay.
No, just the parks themselves on the grassy surfaces and whatnot. And we'll have to wait and see because who knows with all the snow if we were able to see any trash. So we'll have to make a judgment call on Saturday.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Correspondence. We have the Planning Commission draft minutes of April 12th, 2016. Any further correspondence, Renee?
No.
All right. We have an important announcement, Planning Commission vacancy announcement.
Can you do both?
Sure. We do need to announce someone to replace Mr. Perlman on the Planning Commission. That needs to be posted at the post office. Forward any further input on that? It's a great opportunity. The Planning Commission is right there. All right, anything else? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 8:46.
Yeah.
Shame you look so. Get the better of you. You didn't.
And it's helped a lot.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, that's,